Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome. If you guys want to turn on your screens, no pressure, but just to kind of keep it, be great to see everyone's faces tonight.
Hi. No, I know my camera's off. I'm actually driving. I just picked up my son, but I am listening. I'm headed home. If I get home before the meeting ends, I'll get on my camera.
And you'll grab a glass of wine. Yeah. Enjoy this. So good. No, drive safely, but I'm so glad you're listening in. Hello there. Hi, guys. Some familiar names. So good to see you. Happy New Year. We'll kind of get started as people are trickling in tonight, but just welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I know a few of you guys have been here for previous Travel Tuesdays, but we're kicking off 2021. So happy to have you. And now we're kind of going to stay a little bit closer to home. And we're going to head to Mexico. So we'll talk a little bit about Mexico tonight. Tonight we're just going to be, like I said, covering Mexico. We're really lucky to have two of our friends from the one and only in Mexico joining us. So we have Pati and Michael, if you guys want to say hi. Hi guys, yeah. They've recently returned. So they spent a lot of time down in Mexico over the last couple of months. They are going to talk a little bit more about, in specific, their property, one and only Mandarina, which just opened in November. So pretty lucky to get some real up-to-date, like, new stuff for you guys for kind of exclusive properties. And then they'll also touch on one and only Palmilla. So for host today, I'm kind of moderating. I'm Audra, for those of you guys who don't know me. I'm a travel designer here at Down Under Endeavors. Shannon in the middle, my colleague, she also just returned from Mexico in December. So she's going to kind of give us an overview. And like I said, we have Pati and Michael, our friends from One and Only. For those of you who don't know us, we're just, we typically specialize in the South Pacific, but as 2020 would have it, we're really lucky we're expanding our portfolio. One and Only has been kind of a property or a group that we've worked with for a long time. We've been in the business for 23 years, kind of focusing on the luxury side, luxury travel. So One and Only is in Mexico really fit our portfolio. And for those of you who have traveled with us, you can definitely know that we're a little bit different in terms of no itinerary is ever the same. We really cater to what you're looking for. For the agenda tonight, we'll cover a little bit about, like I said, Mexico. Shannon's going to give us kind of a little overview. We're going to then pass it on to Michael and Pati to talk about the two properties that I mentioned. Super casual. If you guys have questions as we go, pop them in the chat box, let us know. I'll kind of be monitoring that, or we'll kind of touch base at the end. There's only a few of us on the call, but if you can just make sure that you're muted if you have something going on in the background, and certainly, like I said, just pop your questions in the chat box, and then I think we can kind of kick it off from there. So
awesome. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, Audra. And so hello to everybody. For those of you whom I haven't met before. Surprisingly enough, I am a pretty regular traveler, and I had never been to Mexico before until I went on December 18th. And fortunately enough for me, my partner is Mexican and speaks Spanish very fluently. So it was kind of fun to have my own personal travel guide and translator for me. Although I'm sure many of you know that English is widely spoken, and so you don't have to be fluent in Spanish in order to get around. So just a couple of things to understand. Many airlines fly into Mexico. I've listed big ones here, but there are lots of choices. My only recommendation of traveling during COVID is if you can get as direct flight as possible, that just limits your exposure to having to go through airports and obviously get on several different flights. My one piece of feedback from having been there recently is that not all airlines are following the same protocols. Certainly masks are required on all flights and in all airports. None of them are doing drink and meal service for the most part. And there are some changes with certain airlines on how they're doing boarding. I think Patty spoke to the fact that Delta is really good about, they haven't been selling the middle seat and they board back to front, whereas United and American are still doing their boarding by groups. Me personally, that made me a little bit uncomfortable, but you just kind of have to know what makes sense for you. So we'll go a little bit. So going right into the entry and the COVID requirements. As you probably know, you do not have to have a negative COVID test in order to enter Mexico. You basically need to do an immigration declaration online. It's very easy to find. And then you will just go through your normal customs and immigration process. Now, when you arrive in country, you will line up and you will find that all states and destinations have the little dots on the floor so that you can make sure that you social distance from the person in front of you. Now, during your stay, masks are going to be mandatory in public places. I went to Cozumel personally, and I stayed at the Westin in Cozumel. I found that everybody, guests and staff, were wearing masks inside the entire time. Obviously, once you get out to the beach and some of that, that's not required, but also just indoor public spaces, transportation if you get in a taxi, just like here in the United States. Now, each of the states in Mexico do have different requirements and different capacities and such. So certainly educate yourself so that wherever you're going, you understand. And obviously, Patty and Michael will talk about their two properties and the things that the one and only are doing for safety protocols. Now, when you enter back into the United States, this is breaking news. Michael just saw it come through, that the requirement is going to be that you do a negative COVID test in order to enter back into the United States. Now, we have not gotten all of the information on that. So once again, if you are looking to travel, make sure that you work with us so that you understand what that requirement is. The good news is that the one and only properties, both of them in Mexico, can help you get your negative COVID test prior to flying back to the United States. So they've got lots of great staff that help with that, and a personal butler, which they will talk to you about specifically. So just a quick, I know a lot of people ask, when to go, what to know as it pertains to Mexico. Mexico is pretty much a year-round destination. However, they do have a dry season. I mean, I was just there in December and it was absolutely beautiful. We got, in fact, the picture in the background is my personal picture of sunset one day from the Westin in Cozumel. But you are going to have a little bit of a wet season there that lasts till October. But again, it's a tropical destination. My partner grew up in Mexico City. He hadn't seen snow ever until he was like 28 years old when he moved to Chicago. So the weather in Mexico is pretty amazing. So just a couple of other things before I turn it over to Patty and Michael to talk about their gorgeous properties. These were just some of my observations in traveling during a pandemic. Not all your restaurants and your tours are going to be operating as normal. There was one restaurant that I thought looked super cute and I wanted to go to one day, and it was not open. And it said it was open on Google. So, you just kind of got to roll with the punches and be a little bit flexible. As I said, each state has different regulations like boat capacities. We personally were going to do a boat tour and just felt uncomfortable with the number of people that were going to be on the boat. So we decided not to do it. That is completely up to your comfort level and where you're at. Now, when you're talking specifically about the one and only properties, Michael and Patty will talk about this specifically, but many of the activities and dining and such can be booked directly with your butler, and they actually have a WhatsApp way that you can contact your butler on site. So pretty much awesome contactless ways to book some amazing excursions and such. Also, for the Mandrina, which is the new property, the excursions and such are going to be only for the one and only guests. So if you want to do something, you're going to be with a very small group of people, which obviously just helps and makes it a little bit more of a special experience, but also just helps with the social distancing. So If you have any questions specific about just general overview of Mexico, certainly put those in the chat box. We're happy to chat to you about that. But without further ado, I'm going to send it over to Michael and Pati to talk about their beautiful properties. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one other thing. I am also a scuba diver. And so one of the reasons why I went to Cozumel, my partner's also a diver. One of the reasons we went is Cozumel is great for diving. I will say that both of the properties of One and Only that they will talk about are also good for diving. But this is me here swimming through my first little tunnel I'd ever been in while I was diving. And I will just do this cute little video. I thought I muted this. Apparently I didn't. But I had never seen a turtle before. I've been diving all over the world and I finally got to see this cute little turtle. So as you can see, the clarity that day was fantastic while diving. So if you are keen to dive, Mexico is a wonderful place to go, very safe. Yeah, we had a great time. So without further ado, I guess that is my last slide, and I'm going to turn it over. Michael and Pati, take it away.
Sure. Thank you so much, Shannon, and Audra and Candace and everyone with Down Under Endeavors. We really appreciate being featured, and so lovely to have everyone on this call to learn a bit more about these destinations, Mandarina in particular, and we're also going to chat a little bit about Palmilla, which is the name of our resort that's in Cabo, which is also quite accessible from Chicago. I know Shannon was mentioning some of the airlines, and United, I know for sure, has nonstop flights from Chicago to both of these destinations. So Puerto Vallarta for Mandarina and Cabo for Palmilla. So what we're looking at right here is an aerial view of One and Only Mandarina. This is before any construction happened, but I can say with confidence that if you look at it now from the same view in the sky, it's really not going to change much. This resort is really all about your nature experience. So from a sustainability standpoint, the villas that we have and all the buildings, they were really built in between the trees rather than kind of tearing everything down and just building a gigantic resort. So if you actually, yeah, just go back to here, perfect. You can see that there's quite a lot in this picture. Almost all of it is part of the One and Only Mandarina complex. So you'll see the flatlands there that has that beach. That's going to kind of be a shared area within the Mandarina complex. And in the center of the picture, the mountains that are that have those cliffs that go into the water, that's actually the core of our One and Only resort. So you definitely have this kind of mountainous jungle experience. And this is really where the Sierra Madre Occidental Mountains meet the sea. So the temperature is kind of like a microclimate here. It's always going to be in the mid to upper 70s, super comfortable. The water temperature is in the 70s as well. Gorgeous, warm, calm water. It's really quite gorgeous. And also the complex of Mandarina, it used to be 50 different plots of land. So as you enter into the complex, you'll actually see some of the farms that we still have there. There's pineapple farms and orchards, really quite beautiful. But again, it's very much about that nature experience. So we try to be as sustainable as possible. So I'll pass it on to Pati to go over the location a bit more.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And we definitely want to know where this beautiful land that Michael just described it is located into, correct? So here is an easy way to understand that. Every single flight, there's a lot of airlift, by the way. So whether you're in New York, Atlanta, Denver, Dallas, Salt Lake City, lots of different cities from the US that have direct airlift into Puerto Vallarta. And that is actually the airport that you're gonna be using to get to the resort. So you fly in there, and then we'll come and pick you up in this beautiful Mercedes-Benz vehicles, and we'll drive up north for about, I wanna say a little less than an hour, about 45 to 55 minutes to be exact, into the west of Riviera Nayarit, and you get into the resort. Definitely being on the west side of the Riviera Nayarit, you are going to explore and be the witness of the most beautiful sunsets. So be ready for that, very unforgettable sunsets. If you are familiar with Punta Mita, St. Regis and Four Seasons, we are 25 minutes north of those two resorts. In addition to that, within the resort in Punta Mita, we have the most famous Sayulita town and also San Pancho. And that will be about 10-15 minutes into both towns. Lots to do in each town, very colorful, lots of culture, nice culinary options, and we definitely have transportation into both towns. The plans are that in 2021, there will be a new road that will take us under 45 minutes to get to the resort. We don't know exactly where the road is so far, but we'll keep you updated. But that's as far as the location.
Great, Patty. And you mentioned the beautiful Mercedes-Benz vans that will pick you up. We should mention that those are actually our staff, our team members from Mandarina Experiences that greet you right at the airport. So it's a really seamless transition from your flight right into one and only Mandarina. They'll be waiting for you right outside the airport and sanitize your luggage before it even goes in with a UV light. Of course, they're all wearing masks. They provide you with Purell and everything to sanitize your seat. So you have a fully comfortable experience on your way to Mandarina. Now looking at this resort overview, some of the things that we'll be going over in the next few slides. Altogether, we have about 105 villas. But what's really great is that we have so many different kind of resort sections within the resort. So what I mean by that is that we actually have 6 pools. We have one section that's right on our gorgeous beach club, Jetty Beach Club, and then 2 resort areas that are kind of far apart from each other, but elevated on top of the mountains. And those pools are kind of cantilevered over the edges with the most incredible views, especially of sunset, like Patty was mentioning. But we do have about 640 acres altogether. So there's lots of activities, excursions, nature trails that you can participate in without leaving the actual Mandarina complex, which is great. Next slide. Okay, so here we have a video that I recently took. This is not a professionally produced video, I must give the caveat. So this is the view from our Corral pool, which is our adults only pool, and overlooking the ocean. What you see in the distance is the Jetty Beach Club, protected by that jetty. And then you can kind of see some of the buildings in the hilltop there. Those are our villas and our Corral pool. So just kind of gives you a sense of the landscape there, really quite dramatic. This is not your typical Mexican view, I must say. For any of you that might have visited Cancun or Riviera Maya before, it's very flat there. This kind of gives you a different feel. A lot of people actually compare it to Southeast Asia, Thailand, Koh Samui, Bali, just because of that amazing landscape. Except this is only, what, 3.5, 4 hours away, so a lot easier than Thailand. And what we're looking at here is actually the accommodation. So as I was kind of mentioning, for sustainability, we really did not want to take down a lot of trees. If we did have to remove a tree, we replanted it elsewhere on property, actually by what's going to be a polo club. But you'll see how our villas are really entrenched into nature there. So this category is called a treehouse villa. So these tree houses are about 40 feet above the ground on stilts. So you get that amazing canopy experience. They're about 850 square feet, so very spacious. And the great thing is that each accommodation, even the most affordable accommodation, has its own private plunge pool. So you have that plunge pool, which would be right in front of the woman in that photo. If we go to the next picture, you can actually see it a bit better. So this is not really the treehouse that I grew up with as a little boy, but this is the treehouse of my dreams. And I'll take it. I love it. And I won't go too much into detail about all the various categories that we have, but the main thing that changes with the treehouse categories is the view. So there's this really lush jungle view And then we have one step up from that, an ocean tree house where you can kind of see the water in the distance, framed in nature. And then for the grand dam of the tree houses, if we go to the next slide, you'll see the panoramic ocean tree house, which has just an incredible view. So instead of being in the canopy, you're basically on top of it, overlooking that coastline, which is just magnificent. Now, these tree houses are actually for adults only because of that 40-foot drop I was mentioning. But this is a very family-friendly resort. You'll see in some of the upcoming slides the great facilities that we have for families. So families would actually stay in a similar category that's called a cliff villa, and most of them are just built into the land rather than elevated so high. One thing to keep in mind is that even though these tree houses are elevated, you're entering your tree house on the same level as the buggy. And what I mean by buggy, it's like a golf cart that takes you from place to place, because this is a very spread out resort, and it's in the mountains, so it's very hilly. So that's kind of how you get from place to place. Next slide. All right, and if you really want to splurge, or if you're going for a special occasion, a honeymoon, anniversary, birthday, or if you want to bring some family members or friends, we'd really recommend the Grand Villas. These are basically like our penthouse suites, if you want to think of it that way. Although all of the accommodations, regardless of category, are a standalone villa, something to keep in mind. But these grand villas are much larger. What we have here in this video is Villa Bandaras, which is actually a 2-bedroom. Almost all of our grand villas are 2 bedrooms. The skylight that you saw there is quite cool. It has a button, usually next to your bed, or in this case, in the living room. And the skylight will close at the close of a button, at the touch of a button. As you can see, we have gigantic bathrooms that are just glorious with blackout shades, outdoor showers here, tons of closet space. And this would be the master bedroom, which you have your plunge pool right in front of you there. And it's also accessible from the living room. And then exiting out of the master bedroom, going back into the living room, and then into the second bedroom. See some of our clients there taking a look. And in the second bedroom, you have 2 queen beds, very similar bathroom setup, and a lovely lounge area outside to relax in. So this is definitely a great option for families, I'd say. When I went with my partner and 2 friends, and it was absolutely perfect for that type of setup. So can't recommend it highly enough. The additional grand villas are even larger than this Villa Bandaras and have more space for entertaining outside. Next slide. All right, and I'll hand it back to go over dining experiences.
And now I get to share with all of you the amazing culinary experiences that we have at One and Only Mandarina. Definitely my favorite slides to talk about. Why? Because literally it's incredible. It's amazing, fabulous experiences. To begin with, we have 3 main restaurants. The first one is Alma Restaurant, which if we want to translate that translates into soul. So the soul restaurant, if we want to call it that way. This incredible restaurant has a Pan-American cuisine. I call it the queen of food and beverage. And the reason behind that is because it is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In addition that it has a Pan-American cuisine, believe it or not, it has an incredible opportunity for garden to table opportunities. So lots of, if you're vegetarian, this is really the restaurant where you're gonna find a lot of the options as far as vegetarian choices. If you are a foodie, this is pretty incredible. We have our signature restaurant that is Carao. In Carao, it's led by our celebrity chef, Enrique Olveras from Mexico City. If you have traveled into Mexico City, I'm pretty sure you have experienced Pujol, and that is his signature restaurant there. Definitely authentic Mexican cuisine, but more than authentic, what I love about this option here is that it has a creative and elevated menu. For instance, just to give you a quick example of that, my first visit to the resort, I got to experience what is called a family style dinner. And I was absolutely happy to have had that because I had different options. I was trying different options. And the one thing that captured my eyes was on the menu, it said zigui chicharron. And of course I'm thinking, oh, I don't think I want to have chicharron right now. This is really not for my body right now, but I'll try it. And they come with this, it was actually seaweed, but it made us chicharron. It was absolutely delicious. So this is what I mean when I say it's creative, innovative, and it's fun. So definitely a restaurant to enjoy for a very special dinner. In addition to this, if we can see the next slide, we also have an amazing top tree bar, and the experience here, it's unforgettable. So if you're ready to, as I mentioned at the beginning, to view some beautiful sunsets, this is the place to be. It's definitely right on the top of the trees. You have beautiful panoramic views of the entire Pacific Ocean while you're enjoying a great collection of signature cocktails. And next slide, please. For more food and beverage experiences, we can let out our amazing Jetty Beach Club. This is our private Jetty Beach Club, and it has an incredible restaurant, which, by the way, even though we have this celebrity restaurant, this is really a big wow factor for the resort. For every single guest that we had at the resort in November 1st, and not to mention the festive season, the greatest feedback has been on the menu for these Beach Clubhouse restaurant. Everything is quite simple, but quite delicious. And then right in the middle of the Beach Clubhouse, you have this amazing grill where you can see them grilling either a red snapper or delicious vegetables. And it's just right in front of the amazing swimmable beach, private swimmable beach that we have. So the experience is quite exquisite. And then you have the jetty that you're seeing right on the picture that's right in front of you as well. And believe it or not, you may also see some fishermen around fishing for, fish for the catch of the day. So everything that we serve, whether it's a land or sea protein, it's definitely acquired from the local markets. We do have local farms where we get our, seafood and all, not seafood, but chicken and meats. So it's incredible experiences. Next slide, please. Michael?
All right. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite pictures because I think it really kind of explains the resort in 1,000 words. So what you have in that pool area on the mountain, that is Corral, which Patty was just talking about, the restaurant that is open for all meals all day. And there you'll find a family-friendly pool with the lifeguard and also one for everybody that is cantilevered over the edge. And to the foreground of that, you'll actually see the treetop bar, which is almost like a little speakeasy that we have there. It's quite hidden, and it's really nice because they do have a couple of signature cocktails, but you really go there and the bartenders ask what you typically order, what you like, kind of flavors that you like, and they make something special and unique, custom just for you, and it's always spot on, I have to say. And then if we look down below by the beach, you'll see that Jetty Beach Club, where we also have a family pool, very shallow, and a pool for everybody else. And of course, we have beach cabanas and beautiful lounge chairs, all, of course, socially distanced because we have quite a large beach. And then the jetty that kind of protects the beach, keeps it very swimmable. You can do stand-up paddleboarding there. All of our water sports that we have, the non-motorized water sports, are complimentary. You can take kayaks out. And my favorite thing down there was the surfing lessons, which was great because you got to learn in kind of the protected, very quiet area, and then just move a little past the jetty to actually catch some of the bigger waves. One thing that this photo also tells you is that we don't really have beachfront accommodations. So if that's something you're looking for, this might not be the spot. It's more about those views and those tree houses. So the tree houses that you see dotted throughout this hill, those are the panoramic tree houses, because again, those have the wide view. Everything else is very hidden. So you're not really going to be able to see out and look to other tree houses or villas. It's very private. Next slide. All right, and our spa, it's really something special here. I was blown away when I was there recently, not really realizing all the plethora of options that we have for wellness and spa here. So of course we have everything like your typical massage, yoga, saunas, steam rooms, but we have so much more than that, really. We even have a spiritual leader on property. Her name is Steffi, and she can guide you through Temazcal, which happens in this little dome here. It's kind of a heated sweat lodge, and the therapist will give you a heated massage with scented herbs. It's kind of a traditional Mexican ritual. You can also participate in group classes such as alchemical breathwork, which I had no idea what that was when I went down there, but I've done it like 4 times since because I loved it so much. And it's basically very healing personal growth technique that's used all around the world to kind of release energy blockages in your body so you can really reach your full potential. It's really quite amazing. So they do 45-minute alchemical breathwork classes throughout the week that you can participate in and give it a try. Another thing that I really enjoyed there was Wine and Your Stars. So that is when the spiritual leader, Steffi, comes to your own villa and she brings with her a bottle of wine. And the day before, you will give her your birth date, place of birth, time of birth, down to the seconds, if you can find that out. And she will pull up your birth chart and study it and create kind of a report and go through your astrological chart. And you can do it with your partner. So it's an hour and a half per person. And then if you're with your partner, she can talk about compatibility and how you can really help your partner reach their full potential in life's purpose. It's really a wonderful experience. I highly recommend it. It was a huge takeaway for a lot of people that I have heard have done that experience. But don't miss out on the massages either. There's one with sound bowls, and they'll actually put healing sound bowls all around you and then even on top of you during the massage. So your body really feels that vibration. It's quite spectacular. And if you are getting massage, make sure you do use the steam rooms and saunas, but also what I have on the next slide, which is the mud grotto. So the mud grotto is a complimentary addition to those spa facilities. And here you can see me with the mud all over myself. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of laughs. I went there with my partner and my friends, and we laughed a lot putting mud all over each other. And this is clay from the central part of Mexico, and it really is fantastic for your skin once it dries. So you apply it to yourself and let it dry in the grotto. And then once it's all dried, you can venture out into the jungle outdoor showers that we have all throughout the jungle there. So you have this really fresh experience of washing off the clay, and it really did wonders for the skin, I must say. It was great. So definitely do participate in that if you do get a massage or any spa treatment. Next slide. I'll hand it back to Pati for the...
Great, thank you so much, Michael. And not to be repetitive, because I know Michael already touched on those fabulous pools that we have. But if you're ready for water, one and only Padilla has all and a plethora of water activities. To begin with, in addition that every single beautiful villa has its own private pool, we have an additional 6 pools all around the resort. The first 2 that you can find will be located at Alma Restaurant, which is the queen of the all restaurants that I just talked about. And those beautiful pools are overlooking the Pacific Ocean, one of them. So you can just imagine if you are traveling into the resort over whale season, which is December through early April, you will definitely see, and I'm not exaggerating, you will definitely see a school of whales going by while you're sipping on some amazing cocktails. And on the other pool to the right, you will have a beautiful view of the entire flora and fauna that the resort has in its beautiful land. The additional pools that we have, it's another one is at Carao Restaurant, which is our signature restaurant with the celebrity chef. And that one, it's completely dedicated for adults only. Incredible views, again, not to be repetitive, but that one, in addition to being incredible, having incredible views, it has these beautiful cabanas that, first and most, the design is so amazing, so gorgeous. The colors are very inviting, but then the service too. The restaurant, Carao Restaurant, is not open during the day, only for dinner. But during the day, we have light bites, and we also have a collection of different cocktails to serve our clients. But again, that one is adults only. Next slide, please. And then at the beach, at the private beach clubhouse, it's where we have, the next one, please, is where we have our additional 2 pools. In there, one of them is dedicated to adults only, and the other one next to it is dedicated to families. Those 2 are sitting right on the sand. So you not only have access to these amazing pools, but if you're bored with the pool, you can just get out of the pool, walk to the beach, do an amazing swimmable beach swimming experience. And added to this swimmable beach experience, we also have a plethora of complementary non-motorized water sports. And that includes kayaking, snorkeling, stand-up paddleboard, boogie board, all sort of different water activities that are complementary. If you are a surfer and you are looking into a more deep surfing experience, we definitely have Canolan Beach, which is about 5 minutes from us, where we can take you and you can enjoy an incredible surfing experience as well. So definitely great pools to enjoy, and lots of water activities, of which Michael will be, talking a little bit more in depth. Thank you.
Sure, thanks, Patty. So yeah, we have quite an array of land and water activities. On land, if you remember the aerial shot that we had, there was that flatlands area. So in the next few months, we're actually going to finish up a polo field there, and we'll have matches almost every weekend. You could even get involved. You can take polo lessons. You could take riding lessons. Eventually, you'll be able to ride with the horses along certain trails and even onto the beach. So we're really excited about those equestrian activities that are soon to come. Already there, we have about 4 tennis courts, pickleball, basketball. Next slide, we have archery as well, which I participated in. We have lovely zip lines and a jungle course. So we have about 4 zip lines that are very close to the hotel. Again, all of this is within the Mandarina complex. You're not leaving the complex. And the jungle trails that we have, you're actually hooked onto a wire, but running or walking, I should say, along these rope bridges, and you're at the canopy level to the trees. So another great way to explore the wilderness. Next slide. And then we have La Abuela. So La Abuela, which means grandmother, is a 500-year-old ficus tree. And it's absolutely massive. These pictures do not do it justice. So it sits at the top of our hill. You actually don't have to take a transfer or a buggy there from our reception area. You can just walk to start the trail, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to get there. It is uphill. It's quite the trek, but it's very rewarding, and there's a couple beautiful spots to stop and take in the view of the mountains and the sea and have some fruit, and then continue on. And then once you get to La Abuela, you pay your respects, and you have this lovely guided meditation with the guides there. So it's really a beautiful experience, and I highly recommend it. You'll see a lot of really interesting flora and fauna. Next slide. And we've mentioned it a few times. We have Tropic Surf, which is an amazing company that started in the Maldives. And they're at very upscale resorts around the world. And they have fantastic surf teachers. So I had never been surfing before. I'm not that coordinated, I must say. But we did this intro to surf lesson right at Jetty Beach Club. That's right in front of our pools and restaurant that you see there. And I was able to get up on the waves in the end. So it worked. Highly recommend it. Really fun experience. And it's really the perfect beach to learn, I must say. Next slide.
All right. And everyone, as you may know very well, every one and only resort, it's designed for every type of clientele. One and only Mandarina and one and only Palmilla are not the exception. We definitely love our families, our multi-generational families. And for that, most important, we love our little ones, because our little ones sooner than later become our future clients. So we want to ensure that we mesmerize them from beginning to end. So at One and Only Mandarina, they not only have an amazing land of activities, but what I love about is the fact that these are activities, these are educational activities. So the Kids Club, it's sitting on 42,000 square feet. So it's right in the heart of the land. They have an amazing collection of beautiful tree houses, hanging bridges. They also have an outdoor amphitheater. In addition to that, something very particular and unique, we have the most beautiful butterfly sanctuary where they can come, they come in, they learn about the butterflies, and they just enjoy being in there. The other thing that's very particular is that we also have an insectary room for our kids. And the insectary room has a little story behind it, and that is La Casa de Chepe, Chepe's house. And Chepe, it's supposed to be the character, the owner of the entire kids club, and he is the one that goes out every day hunting for insects, for butterflies, for these, for that. So as soon as our little ones come into the kids club, we talk to them about La Casa de Chepe, and the biggest homework and the biggest competition that they have there is that we ask them that if they find Chepe, or if they see Chepe, they most tell us right away, and they win a prize. So you can just imagine the little faces, and as they play around this incredible kids club, they are out looking out for Chepe. So definitely an incredible kids club, lots of activities to do. Definitely for those that don't want to be in the outdoor area, which is very rare to find a kid that doesn't like the outdoor areas. We also have an indoor area as well, where they have video games, they have arts, they do lots of different artwork from the Huchimal culture, and lots of activities. So this is definitely their land. This is definitely a one and only kids club. I haven't been to all the properties in Mexico, but I can assure you that this is very unique. So look forward to bringing your kids to One and Only Mandarina. They're going to have an amazing time with us.
And I think this is a sunset view to kind of close out what we're talking about here with Mandarina, one of the most incredible new properties in the world, not to mention just Mexico. So this is Corral, the adults pool, looking at that magnificent sunset in the evenings. That's my favorite spot to watch the sunset. Close runner-up would be the Treetop Bar. And with that, I want to just have Pati mention quite briefly about our sister property that we have, a big sister, in Cabo, One and Only Palmilla.
Thank you, Michael. Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure many of you on the call right now are quite familiar with One and Only Palmilla. It's definitely a very iconic, legendary property that's been there since the 50s, believe it or not. As of 2004, it turned into a one and only property. Absolutely beautiful, welcoming not only multi-generational families, but singles, couples, celebrities. So back since the 50s, it's been well recognized by having celebrities visit the resort. This resort over here, while one and only Mandarina meets the Pacific Ocean meets the jungle, at Palmilla, while it's where the desert meets the Sea of Cortez. Again, an incredible property for every type of traveler, beautiful swimmable beach with the waters of the Sea of Cortez, lots of different activities to do, either land or sea. So if you are interested in visiting Palmilla, do not be afraid to let us know. We will be more than happy to help you with any accommodations there. Thank you. Oh, I see. We were supposed to do the resort overview. Do we have time for that, or do we want to jump into questions?
Audra, do we have questions in the chat?
I don't have any questions.
It's up to you.
Yeah, no questions in chat, but yeah, I think go ahead and give us a quick overview on Palmilla.
Absolutely. So definitely a true destination resort. So if you're looking for a resort where you can grab a true sense of place, this will be one and only Palmilla. Not only because it has an incredible history, but it has a beautiful soul. The soul, the way I describe it, will be the property itself with this beautiful architecture, hacienda style architecture. And the heart of the property is our amazing staff. So definitely a great resort to come and experience the culture of Mexico. Also too, a destination resort. Why? Because once you check in into one and only Palmilla, you definitely have everything from culinary experiences to an amazing spa, lots of different activities. The resort, it's sitting in 250-acre land, so definitely ample space for everybody to do social distancing, ample space for everybody to do activities and not be one on top of the other. As far as the accommodations, we have 2 amazing 4-bedroom villas that are perfect for families, multi-generational families, group of friends traveling together, weddings, all type of different celebrations that you would like to have at those 4-bedroom villas. In addition to that, we also have our beautiful casita. We have casita junior suites and casita 1-bedrooms. These are definitely our standalone units, and picture you coming into your own beautiful luxurious accommodation where we give you the key, the butler checks you in, and you definitely have everything. Amazing private pools overlooking at the Sea of Cortez, beautiful large living areas, bathrooms, and you really don't have to get out of your casita to definitely experience everything there. As far as culinary experiences, we have a beautiful collection of restaurants. To begin with, we have our celebrity restaurant, which is Sear, an amazing steakhouse. We have about 15 different cuts of meat. This is led by John George. In addition to that one, we have Agua Restaurant, which is our authentic Mexican cuisine. And we call it a Mexiterranean cuisine as it has an incredible mix of authentic Mexican food, but also touches of Mediterranean options as well. Ceviche will be the 3rd one, and is actually my favorite. Why is it my favorite? It's a great combination of sushi and ceviche. So when you're at Palmilla, you never get bored. You always have options. But what I love about ceviche is that I get in, and then based on how I'm feeling, I get to decide whether I want Mexican ceviches or I want a great experience on sushi and Asian food as well. And last but not least, we have Breeze Restaurant. Breeze Restaurant is fabulous. Why is it fabulous? Because it's right where we have our adult area only, our adult pool. And Breeze Restaurant has definitely great fish tacos, lots of different ceviches, very fresco light dishes. And then at night, it turns into this beautiful Mexican theme where you have the entire style of as if you were in San Jose City. And then we have mariachi going on. So the entire atmosphere, it's quite amazing because you really feel like you are in Mexico. In addition to that, the lush, landscape that we have, a lot of our clients, believe it or not, when they check in, they pretty much get kind of like amazed, surprised, and they think, I thought that we were in Mexico. I thought that we were in Los Cabos, where it's supposed to be desert, and all dry. When it comes to Palmilla, the land, it's so beautiful and lush, and it's beautiful to walk around the resort. Something that I really admire when I come to the resort is you come during the day and you come to this beautiful tropical ambience. And then at night, it's like a chameleon because it turns into this beautiful romantic resort where we have someone dedicated that lights about over I want to say it's over 500 lights at night, candle lights, all through the beautiful pathways. So it's very nice to go for a dining experience and come back with your significant other holding hands or just walking around the pathways. So definitely a beautiful resort to visit. Thank you.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you, Michael and Patty. That is unbelievable. That was such a great overview. I'm not sure what I'm looking forward to first. It's either the treetop bar, the spa treatments, the beach. I don't know. It all looks so amazing. So thank you so much for just all of that and for providing your own experiences. I guess,
Absolutely.
yeah, just to open it up to everyone, if you guys want to just pop in questions. I don't really have anything in chat, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. We've got some great people that have just been there, so feel free to ask away.
I was just curious about, Down Under endeavors, and I've worked with you guys for, South Pacific trips, a couple of those, and I am actually thinking about a Mexico trip in the fall with my wife, and wanted to get a sense of how expertise you guys really are in this area at this point. I'm excited that you guys are moving into the space, and it's great, and want to just get a general sense of if I wanted to get more detailed information about comparing and contrasting different areas and properties, and getting a sense of how the depth of expertise at this point.
You want me to speak to that, Audra?
Yeah, Shannon, you've been and you're the expert, so I know you know this.
Yeah, so great question. Thank you so much. And absolutely, what we've been doing is a lot of companies during COVID kind of went into hibernation. And what Down Under Endeavors did instead is we spent our time learning about our new destinations that we're selling. So to answer your question, I know if you've worked with us in the past where we might be doing, if we're doing Australia or New Zealand, we're going to give you touring ideas and we're going to talk about the specific areas. You can expect the same level of expertise in Mexico. And Mexico is a very large country geographically, and there are a lot of different types of activities and a lot of different landscapes and cultures and such. For example, the Mayan area, the Cancun, Cozumel area, where if people want to do Tulum or Chichen Itza or something like that, that's going to be very different than perhaps an experience in Mexico City versus an experience over by where the Mandrina is and Puerto Vallarta. So yes, to answer your question, you can expect the same level of expertise if you were looking to put together, a 10-day or a 2-week trip where perhaps you're visiting different destinations within Mexico. And there's some really cool areas where you can get some interesting cultural experiences as well.
Okay. And Shannon, you are probably the person that, because I've worked with Corinne before, and I've worked with Ellen when we did our honeymoon in French Polynesia. Shannon, would you be the person to reach out to maybe set up a call?
Yeah, certainly. Or I can certainly chat to you about some specific areas, and then any one of because we've all been kind of getting ourselves up to speed on all of these destinations. So any of our people will certainly be experts. You're talking to me because I'm the one on staff that has most recently been to Mexico, because I just got back December 23rd. So, but
Seth,
yeah.
I'm here with Corinne. So I know you've worked before with Corinne, and she says g'day. She's just on another call here with our Australian office, so she wasn't able to hop on here and say hi to you. So she says, make sure you say hi. But thanks for that's a very good question, and I'm sure that's that's one that we actually get quite a bit is as we expand our expertise into, I'd call Mexico really more in our domestic portfolio as we're building out North America. You know, it's really going to be a focus for us moving forward, certainly. And that includes the Mexico property, some of the Caribbean, all the way up to Alaska. We're building our portfolio out.
So you can certainly start with Corinne, and then Corinne and I, you know, if she wants me to help just with some specifics or something like that, that's certainly fine. But since you've been talking to Corinne, you can start there, and we can, but definitely the same level of expertise as you've experienced in the past.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. Great question.
Yeah, great question. And anyone else, any questions at all about Mexico? Anything about us in specific? That was a great one, Seth. Anyone have questions about us or Mexico or One and Only?
There's a beautiful One and Only properties in other areas of the world as well. So if you've experienced those properties, you can expect the same experience in Mexico.
Anybody?
I think we do have a couple people here on the call that have been to some of the other properties in the One and Only portfolio, from the wonderful property in Cape Town all the way to you know, some other places that they've been around the world. I know that portfolio has become pretty important to us, so it's wonderful to have them on this call. But their properties around the world, One and Only Wogan Valley in Australia has to be one of the more, I don't even know how to put it. It's a
iconic. Wonderful
place.
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
Never seen anything like it, and we've had a chance to see things around the world. And I think a couple people on here have had a chance to experience that property, and their new product offerings in East Africa are second to none as well. So
I would just chime in on that peanut gallery here, and I'm not showing my face, but yeah, I stayed at the Youngway House and saw Gorilla's Nest last January in Rwanda, and they were both phenomenal. So definitely looking forward to revisiting those places as well. So yeah, the product always delivers.
And Michael, I think you had asked me if I'd stayed at any One and Only properties, and I told you about Reedy Raw, but I totally forgot that I stayed at the gorgeous property in Cape Town too.
Oh yeah, Cape Town.
That was great. Yeah.
For a while, it's fantastic. Yeah, it's the resorts that Doug was mentioning in Australia and also in Rwanda. Those are what we consider our nature resorts. And I know I used the term earlier because Mandarina is so infused into nature, but our legit nature resorts, those are almost like going on safari. So even though you're not seeing the big five, you're still getting all the meals and activities included in the rate. And they're very small properties. So I think Wogan Valley has about 40 villas, but 7,000 acres of its own property. And when you're in Rwanda, you're just in little lodges, 21 lodges per property. You can go chimpanzee trekking, gorilla trekking, which is just an incredible experience. But yeah, those are our nature resorts. But as a brand, we are growing. We have about 12 properties around the world, all kind of in that ultra luxe realm and level. But what I love about the brand is that all of the properties are really elegant, but not stuffy. So it doesn't really have that big overwhelming brand feel too. So each of the properties are super unique, and we kind of keep the personality of that property. Like Palmilla is so special because it's historic. It has that Mexican colonial flair, but that same experience won't be had in Mandarina, for example, where that has a whole different vibe. So it's really a phenomenal brand. I hope everyone can see all of them sometime soon.
That's a good goal, Michael. I like it. Awesome.
Perfect. Well, we will send out this recording too, and you have all of our details. If you have questions, we'll happy to go into specifics. Michael and Patty will help us with anything as well if you guys have specific questions. And always just send us an email if you have any questions, or pick up the phone. We'd love to have a chat or Zoom. But for now, just kind of wrapping it up with Mexico. Next time, we are going to take you to Namibia. So Candace, who is secretly kind of listening in on the call, not showing her face, she's off to Namibia on Friday. So she is going to be coming back to us and kind of reporting what it's like to travel in Namibia during this time, and as well a new African country for her. So yeah, we'll watch a kind of a reminder come out about that. So that'll be on February 9th. And then we also have a couple things going on with Instagram. We're going to do some live stories coming also from Mexico, coming from Wyoming. Like Doug said, we're definitely expanding our domestic portfolio. So we're going to bring some great stuff to you guys over a couple of different social media things, Zoom and stuff like that. So watch this space. But thanks again to Michael and Pati. We're so, so grateful you joined us. Thank you so much for just all that insight. And we just hope, yeah, we hope to work with you guys a lot. And thanks for everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
All right.
Audrey.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone, for participating. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.